In this world, people can be divided into two distinct groups. There are those who choose to learn, grow, and move forward, and then there are those who remain stuck, held back by their own ignorance. It's important to realize that wisdom isn't just handed to you, it's something you earn. So, I want you to think about this. Are you wise, or do you act foolishly? A foolish person isn't necessarily someone who lacks knowledge, but rather one who dismisses the opportunities to learn from their experiences. Mistakes happen, but a truly foolish individual is one who refuses to acknowledge them. Feelings are a part of life, yet a foolish woman allows her emotions to dictate her actions instead of using them to guide her. I urge you to stay with me during this talk, because what we'll explore together could be a vital insight for your life, a key difference between those who thrive and those who suffer in their own self-imposed prisons. So let's dive into this crucial distinction between wisdom and foolishness. The key to understanding this difference isn't just about what we know, it's all about how we think. You could have a wealth of knowledge at your fingertips and yet remain blind to what's truly important. Wisdom doesn't come from mere facts. It demands that we recognize life's patterns and make choices that promote our growth, strength, and happiness. Consider this. A fool might consume countless books filled with information, but still flounder without direction, while a wise woman, even without extensive formal education, can steer through life's challenges with grace and intention. What truly distinguishes the wise from the foolish is their level of awareness of themselves, others, and the rippling consequences of their actions. A wise woman looks beyond immediate situations, seeing life as a rich tapestry woven from the choices she makes. She understands that her reactions shouldn't be impulsive. Instead, she takes time to reflect, actively listens to understand, and strives not just to be correct, but to grow and improve. On the other hand, the foolish woman often lives in her own fantasy world. She confuses arrogance with confidence and thinks being impulsive is an act of strength, mistaking stubbornness for wisdom. She fails to pause and question whether her beliefs might be misguided or if her judgments are clouded by her emotions. Ironically, the very certainty she clings to might be the thing leading her into darkness. When she walks carelessly into harm's way, her instinct is to blame the flames for the burns she receives. She keeps repeating errors and then points her finger at the world for the pain she endures. A wise woman, however, knows that her mind is like a garden. If she neglects it, weeds of fear, doubt, resentment, and vanity can take over. But when she nurtures her mind with care, it blossoms into a space filled with understanding, discipline, and self-respect. She doesn't wait for life to unfold, she actively cultivates it. She seeks wisdom to avoid disaster, understanding that each mistake is an opportunity for growth. Every failure teaches her something valuable, and every hardship reveals her true character. Instead of chasing an easy life, she strives for one that has meaning. In contrast, the foolish woman confuses movement with progress, mistaking loudness for confidence and recklessness for courage. She fills her life with people who flatter her instead of those who challenge her. Ignoring inconvenient advice, she clings tightly to beliefs that no longer help her and stays stuck in unproductive patterns. It's not that she's unlucky, it's that she's lacking in wisdom. While others find success and open new doors, she remains behind them, too resistant to embrace self-awareness. Life rewards those who are willing to learn and encourages those who ask tough questions. It reveals its riches to those courageous enough to look in the mirror and face their truths, punishing those who turn away from these realities. The foolish often find themselves trapped in the same cycles, facing repeated disappointments, not because fate is unjust, but because they refuse to see what's right in front of them. Ignorance goes deeper than just lacking knowledge. It's about rejecting wisdom. It's a stubborn refusal to grow, holding tightly to old beliefs and thinking one's understanding is sufficient. A fool isn't merely uninformed, it's someone who mistakenly believes she has nothing more to learn. The moment she convinces herself of her completeness, she seals her own fate. When life gets challenging, her go-to response is to point fingers. It's always someone else's fault, be it a harsh world, an unfair system, or betrayal by others. She never looks at her own role in the situation or considers what she could have changed. Gripping the false comfort of victimhood, she avoids the weighty truth that she wields the power to transform her circumstances. True power lies in taking ownership. When a woman decides to take responsibility for her actions and choices, she starts to shape her destiny. The wise woman doesn't waste her time casting blame. Instead, she seeks to learn from her experiences. When facing betrayal, she doesn't wallow in self-pity. She focuses on growth, recognizing the dangers of ignorance and denial. Each failure becomes an opportunity for discernment, leading her toward a more enlightened path. When life pushes her down, she doesn't waste time crying over how unfair it is. Instead, she rises up, stronger and wiser, ready to tackle whatever comes next. It's important to recognize that ignorance can hold a person back from making progress. If a woman doesn't acknowledge her weaknesses, she'll never be able to overcome them. Ignoring feedback means she'll struggle to improve, and without learning from her mistakes, she's bound to repeat them. Some might cling to their ignorance, treating it like a treasure. They mock wisdom, brush aside advice, and turn a blind eye to the truth. It's often simpler to stay in the dark than to face what's real. A woman caught in the cycle of foolishness may find herself facing the same toxic relationships and making the same reckless choices over and over. Instead of questioning why these patterns keep occurring, she might convince herself that she's just unlucky. But luck is rarely the root of the problem. The real difference lies in wisdom, which can separate a woman who thrives from one who suffers. The good news is that ignorance is a choice, just as wisdom is. No woman is forever trapped in foolishness. She can choose to see, learn, and grow at any moment. The real question isn't whether she has the ability, but rather if she has the courage. Gaining wisdom demands humility, as it requires admitting that she doesn't know everything and has room to learn from mistakes. For some, this realization can be tough to accept, but for those who do, the rewards are immense. A wise woman takes charge of her emotions, commands her actions, and sees clearly when making decisions. Her past does not control her future. She doesn't squander her energy blaming others. Instead, she moves forward with purpose and strength, carrying the quiet confidence that comes from knowing she is in charge of her own life. While foolishness may feel comfortable and familiar, wisdom can be challenging and uncomfortable. However, only one of these paths leads to true freedom. Emotions can be a powerful force within us. They have the ability to create warmth or bring destruction. A woman who masters her emotions harnesses their power to uplift and protect herself. In contrast, a woman who is ruled by her feelings may pose a danger to herself and others. She might lash out at those who care for her, push away potential support, and jeopardize the future she desires. She may think she is strong because she feels deeply, but true strength lies in restraint, in wisdom, and in knowing when to take action and when to pause. A moment of anger can wipe out years of hard work, while a careless comment has the power to end a friendship. An impulsive choice can change the entire direction of one's life. Many people, however, let their emotions take charge, thinking that chaos is passion and recklessness signifies authenticity. They allow feelings like anger, jealousy, and fear to control what they say and do, believing they're expressing their true selves, when in fact, they are being ruled by these emotions. In contrast, a wise woman recognizes that emotions are fleeting and often misleading. She understands that the intensity of a feeling in the moment doesn't compare to the potential consequences of how she responds. Instead of rejecting her feelings, she welcomes them, analyzes them, and learns from the experiences they bring. When anger arises, she wonders what lesson it holds for her. If fear takes over, she asks whether it's protective or simply a limitation. She masters her mind and controls her heart. On the other hand, a foolish woman lives at the mercy of every fleeting feeling. She allows her emotions to define who she is and how she experiences reality. Strong feelings lead her to believe that their intensity must mean they're true. If she's hurt, she assumes she's a victim. If jealousy strikes, she thinks someone is out to take what's hers. When she feels unworthy, she believes the world must see her fit that way too. Without questioning her feelings, she obeys them, ultimately causing her own downfall. Anger clouds her judgment and leads to missed opportunities. Insecurity taints her relationships, and impulsive choices come from her inability to distinguish between temporary emotions and lasting outcomes. Caught in a constant struggle, she wonders why happiness seems unattainable, success so elusive, and peace just out of reach. True strength doesn't belong to the loudest or most aggressive woman. It is found in the one who remains steady in the storm, unyielding when emotions threaten to overwhelm her. She's the one who takes a moment to breathe before speaking, who reflects before taking action. This understanding reveals that real power isn't in the chaos of feelings, but rather in the wisdom of self-restraint. Despite this truth, some go after validation instead of genuine respect, confusing mere attention for something more meaningful. Many people chase after admiration, getting caught up in seeking likes and compliments, mistaking this passing praise for genuine worth. They often dress, speak, and act for others, constantly looking for signs that they are enough. However, no amount of approval can fill the void for someone who does not respect herself. A woman who relies on validation will find herself forever dissatisfied. The world's approval is unpredictable, changing quickly, and often unattainable. One day, she may feel adored, and the next, forgotten. In her quest for attention, she may adapt and shape herself to fit what she believes will draw admiration. But with each adjustment, she risks losing her true self, ultimately gazing at a reflection that feels foreign and wondering why emptiness lingers inside her. Respect doesn't come from begging for it or demanding it. It is earned by those who hold themselves with dignity, who set and uphold their own standards, and who act with integrity even when no one is watching. A woman who truly respects herself understands her worth without needing validation from others. She recognizes her own beauty through her strength and carries herself with confidence, without waiting for someone else to tell her she matters. While some may foolishly seek external validation, altering themselves to meet others' expectations, true worth cannot be found in external opinions. It's woven into how a woman carries herself, the standards she upholds, and the respect she earns through her actions. The wise woman knows that admiration fades, but respect lasts. She realizes that those who seek only to be loved won't ever find true value. A woman with self-respect is powerful and unshakable. She refuses to diminish herself for acceptance, nor will she shrink to fit spaces too small for her. With a commanding presence, she walks tall and speaks with purpose, not because she craves validation, but because she recognizes her own intrinsic value. Every woman faces two distinct paths. One embodies wisdom and the other foolishness. The path fueled by wisdom leads to strength, peace, and empowerment. In contrast, the foolish path brings emptiness, disappointment, and regret. The key difference between these routes lies in how a woman approaches her self-worth. A wise woman seeks mastery over herself, while the foolish one craves the approval of others. Choosing restraint over chaos creates a solid foundation built on respect, as opposed to chasing illusions of admiration. It's not about whether a woman is strong, beautiful, or valuable. The real question is whether she recognizes her own worth. Does she believe in herself? Does she carry herself with confidence that leaves no room for doubt? A woman who respects herself does not seek validation. She naturally earns respect. Change is an inevitable part of life. Everything that lives grows, while anything stagnant will decay. Seasons will change regardless of our readiness, and the tides will shift whether we resist or flow with them. A woman who fears change becomes stuck in the past, clinging to what she has outgrown. Comfort can be deceptive, making it easy to mistake it for safety. It's important to remember that nothing remarkable is ever achieved through complacency. Greatness is forged through the fires of transformation. When a woman resists change, she may cling to outdated friendships, draining relationships, or limiting habits. She might convince herself that the past was better, believing that if she holds on tightly enough, she can retain everything just as it is. However, life doesn't pause for those who fear it. It moves forward, pushing them to grow whether they want to or not. Those who resist will suffer the most. Growth is often painful. It demands sacrifice and pushes a woman to let go of her former self to embrace who she's meant to become. Change is crucial for that growth. It clears away illusions, disrupts old patterns, and dismantles familiarity. Yet, those who embrace the unknown tend to rise. A woman who appreciates the power of change looks forward to new beginnings. She understands that every ending opens the door to something new, that every stumble teaches a lesson, and that every loss creates room for greater things. Instead of mourning what once was, she focuses on what lies ahead and asks herself, what am I capable of becoming? A woman who fears change finds herself in a frustrating position. As she watches others thrive and make progress, she feels stuck in the same spot. This stagnation leads her to question why she feels restless and unfulfilled, even when everything seems fine on the surface. She might convince herself that holding on to the past is a sign of loyalty, but that's not wisdom. True wisdom lies in knowing when to let go and embrace new paths. Growth isn't about repeating the same patterns. It's about evolving and adapting. A woman willing to embrace change knows that every challenge strengthens her and every hardship teaches valuable lessons. With each new chapter in her life, she becomes more resilient. She understands that losing some connections isn't the end. Those who truly belong in her life will stay by her side. Additionally, she sees failure not as something to fear, but as a necessary step towards success. The unknown doesn't intimidate her because she trusts her ability to navigate through it. In contrast, some people prioritize appearances over personal growth. They may choose to chase fleeting beauty, external validation, and superficial success. This focus on vanity can lead to a life built on unstable ground. They measure their worth by how others view them or by the possessions they flaunt, spending their days curating an image that ultimately doesn't last. Trends fade, admiration dwindles, and when all the external noise quiets down, they may find themselves alone, grasping at a hollow version of who they pretended to be. Real worth isn't reflected in a mirror or dictated by others' opinions. It comes from within. It's found in character, discipline, and the choices made when no one is looking. A woman who values virtue over vanity isn't preoccupied with being admired. Instead, she focuses on becoming prepared, capable, and unshakable. She doesn't seek validation from others because she has earned it herself through her actions and the strong foundation of her life. Those who are caught up in chasing vanity will perpetually be in a race, never arriving at true fulfillment. In life, we are faced with choices that define who we become. One path, though seemingly easy and filled with temporary pleasures, leads to a facade. It's a life that impresses others on the outside but crumbles when faced with real pressure. The other path requires more. It calls for discipline, sacrifice, and resilience. This is the path that builds a strong foundation, one that can withstand the storms of life. Women who focus on inner strength and integrity don't chase after fleeting approval. Instead, they attract respect through their character. True strength lies not just in how we look, but in our ability to endure challenges and rise again after falling. It's about knowing when to speak up and when to listen, when to fight and when to let go, and how to adapt to change while remaining firm in our values. Every woman ultimately must choose the kind of life she wants to lead. Will it be one defined by external validation, or will it be rooted in something deeper? The path of wisdom is undoubtedly more demanding. It requires humility and self-awareness, yet the rewards it offers are profound. Those who choose wisdom gain power over their minds, their decisions, and their lives. So as you reflect on your own journey, consider, are you opting for the wisdom that leads to genuine strength and fulfillment, or are you settling for foolishness that brings stagnation? The choice is yours.